Welcome to DC Trainings. We're going to talk today about being an effective leader versus a manager, hyphen or parentheses, micromanager. Don't be a micromanager. You got to be an effective leader in your office and lead by example. Now, if you recall, we talked about this in a previous video, but I wanted to give you a different example in a new light to re-emphasize a very important point in your practice. So let's say today's example is based around a situation that comes up quite often where a CA and maybe another CA are having some challenges, and this is based on performance. So one CA is not performing to the other one's expectations, and so this starts a back and forth kind of a bickering or a resentment in the office, and you can just feel the tension rise. I mean, and you'll feel it, you'll know, and of course even before they tell you, most of the time you'll feel it. So I thought this would be a perfect example to talk about today, because how do you resolve this? How do you come out of this as in a win-win situation so that everybody is now happy, there's no grudges held, and we can move forward? So let's say, for example, the CA comes to you and says, hey, this CAB is not performing well, and it's piling work up on me, and I'm really having a hard time with it, and so you got to fix this right now. So what you would do is you would go to the CAB, the B player. You'd say thank you to the CA, the A player, and you go to the B player and say, hey, I just wanted to talk with you about your performance, and there's been some question in some areas, but first of all, I want to just compliment you on some areas that I've actually noticed that you've done a great job, and I appreciate you, and so I just wanted to share that with you first off, because I appreciate you. These other areas, though, I've been getting some feedback that there's some challenges here, and so I first of all just wanted to ask you how you feel about your performance in these areas. Do you feel like you've been adequately trained? Do you feel like you have the resources that you need to be able to perform this task to where we need it to be performed? And let them answer. So yes, I feel like the resources are there for me. I think I've been trained, is usually the response you're going to get. So then you'd say, well, okay, great. I'll tell you, I'm going to be the first one to point back at myself and say, it sounds to me then like I didn't adequately train you, and so I want to apologize for that because I should have done that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to retrain you on this and show you what I expect. And so then you do it. You go through and you say, this is how you're going to do this, A, B, C, D. Then you're going to, this is a very important point, you're going to follow it up with, how important do you think this is? Do you think this is a high priority, or is there another priority that you feel like supersedes this in the office at the time when you're doing this? Very, very important. When a CA is at the front desk and they're on the phone and a new patient walks in, which one takes the higher priority, right? So that's just a simple example, but it's important to ask that question, because what they'll let you know a lot of times is, well, the way I understood the first time you trained me on this is that I think this other thing is more important, and you say, whoa, no, that's not actually what I meant. I apologize, it was my fault, I explained it wrong, I should have explained it differently. So give them a chance to express themselves by asking the question about what they perceive and what their perceptions are of the priorities and how this function should be performed. Then you're going to go ahead and retrain them, show them how to do it, make sure that they know where it falls in the priority list, and as a follow-up then go back to the other CA, totally separate, and say, hey, I've retrained this CA, and now what I want to make sure that you do is that you don't hold a grudge. We got a fresh start. They've agreed to do it in this new light, in a new way, and so I just want to make sure that you give them the benefit of that, and that we're not holding any grudge or harboring any hard feelings about this, because our intention here is to have the practice grow and work cohesively together.